Hey guys, Deneen Shoemaker here, helping you to live your best life now. So, as anyone who follows my YouTube channel knows, I have taken a break from these videos because I just was running out of steam. I was running out of motivation and inspiration and didn't feel like I had anything education-wise to bring you. But as I've watched and listened to the media and to different news sources, both on the left and on the right, just so we all know, I felt the need to just talk with you all today. And it has to do with this virus, the coronavirus that we are facing here in America. I have seen reactions basically from one side of the spectrum to the other. Many people are saying, fear not, just go out and live your normal life. And many other people are saying, holy crap, fear with everything you have and suspend everything and live in immense fear. And so I want to try to maybe bring some perspective and maybe try to help those of you that are somewhere in the middle searching for some common ground. Y'all know that the reason that I do this is because I love Jesus and because I follow the teachings of Jesus. And you know, in John 14, verse 27, it says, my peace, Jesus says, my peace I leave you, not as the world gives. We know that in other parts of Scripture, it says that God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but one of courage and strength. Right? And we know that many times fear is what drives so much of what we do, as well as ego. I want to share just a little bit from personal experience. So this week, in the beginning of the development of this coronavirus. We know that it's been happening for weeks in the U.S., probably 6 or more weeks, but the response has only been very recent. And I believe myself acting out of, fear and out of maybe a sense of ego. I didn't want to believe that it's as bad as it is. I didn't want to interrupt my life, my normal everyday life. I'm just being honest. But after really, watching this thing unfold, seeing how it doubles so quickly, some experts say within 4 days, some say within 6 days, we really do have a worldwide pandemic on our hands here. But freaking out on either side does not help anyone. So I don't think that it's good for some of these mass churches that have been saying, well, God has told us not to fear, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to hold, large church gatherings. I don't believe that is a smart way to do things. I think that we owe it to one another, that we need to, as we live in community with one another, we need to be not so selfish. I also think that on the other side of things, to live in absolute fear and to completely let that dictate. Timon agrees with me, my cat, in case you can't hear him in the background. But anyway, to live in absolute fear where you're frozen is not a place to be either. One of the things that I love about Methodism is something that we call the quadrilateral. And I don't believe John Wesley really coined the term quadrilateral. I think he just simply lived it out, and it's what we model in Methodism. And let me just share with you real quick what that means. So the quadrilateral means that anytime we deal with a situation, we believe that it is a four-factor kind of thing. That scripture obviously comes into play, but we also believe that reason, experience, and tradition come into play. So in other words, it's naive to simply say, fear not. It's also naive to say, fear everything, right? But I do believe that Jesus does allow us as followers a peace that passes all understanding. Now, so let's talk about, yes, we have scripture to back up either side of this argument, but let's talk about reason for a moment. Reason is when you think and you understand and you form judgments by a process of logic, right? I mean, that's actually Webster's definition. So it's rational, we know, to practice this social distancing. We know that it is not rational to gather in large groups. It is not rational to hoard or to deprive others of the sanitizing and cleaning supplies that every single one of us need, not just you and your family, right? We look at experience. Experience shows us to look at, for instance, Italy and the experience that they have had. We know that if we can get ahead of this curve, that we will not only prevent flu-like symptoms, because that's not what this is. This is a respiratory disease. People end up coming into the ER because they literally cannot breathe. It isn't just flu-like symptoms. So we know that we not only can save ourselves, but we can save countless other lives as well, right? So that is what experience tells us, that we must get ahead of this curve. But we need also to understand that our experience shows us that freaking out never accomplishes anything good. We need to stay calm. We need to stay rational. We need to exhibit non-selfish behavior, because that is what's going to get us through with the least serious consequences. Tradition. Tradition is March Madness. Tradition is that we shake one another's hands. However, our traditional lifestyle is definitely being upended. It's being upset right now, and I get it. I didn't want to disrupt my life. I like it when things are comfortable and the way that I expect them to be. But for this period of time, we need to not only look at scripture, we need to not only look at fear or courage. We need to understand that all of these things come into play. So you've got to use your reason. You've got to use your experience. You've got to use that. And really, I guess you've got to kind of throw tradition out right now. Sorry, the cat is knocking this thing all over the place. It's a new addition. He's a new addition. I haven't figured out how to tape with him knocking my camera everywhere. So we got to give up some of these traditions for the community health, right? I'm just imploring all of you to not look at just yourself and your family, but look at the greater good. So I'm asking you right now to think about what you can do to help in this situation rather than divide. I don't want to hear about politics anymore. I'll be honest with you, I don't really give a shit whose fault this is. The point is, we're all in this together. It's not a right or a left issue, it's an us issue. So don't be thinking about me, think about us. Don't think about I, think about we. Don't think about me, think about how all of us are in this together, and only together are we going to get through it. So how can you help a neighbor? How can you help a family who's needs to go to work, but their kids are out of school? How can we make sure that kids are getting meals during this time who depend on their school meals to keep them healthy? Folks, this is not a time to be arguing. This is not a time to be divisive. This is a time where we as Americans know how to pull together and to care for one another. Whether you're a Jesus follower or not, I'm begging you, stay positive. Don't let the fear consume you, but also use your reason, trust experience, and it's okay to let go of some traditions right now. As Methodists, we know that we are called to do all of the good that we can in all of the ways that we can in any I'm not remembering the quote right now and I didn't write it down, but do all the good you can in all the ways you can in any manner that you can, because that is what we are called to do. I hope that this brings you some peace. I hope that we can just all calm the collective fear. We can look outside of ourselves and our own immediate families. We can come together, and only together can we beat this thing and eliminate as many deaths and tragedies as possible. Just helping you to live your best life now, because folks, this ain't no dress rehearsal, and we don't get another shot. Grace and peace.